Hey guys, and welcome to CIO Podcast. This time we're live, so lots has been going on. Obviously, if you were here from the beginning, you saw the mess. Those of you that are watching the replay are probably watching a cut down version, so you didn't have to deal with yours truly having to reboot the computer at the last minute, losing all of the pre-setup that I had and everything. So, what an absolute nightmare that was. So, hey everybody, so a little while ago, you remember, if you watched our videos, if not, I'll put a link to it up top in the top bar. We did a dive into this particular website called Get Vehicle History You Can Trust, or Car History from Experian. And in this particular site, we noticed some inconsistencies that led us to believe that this is a bogus website. And I won't delve into those details, but one of the things we did was use a tool called Whois in order to look up information about the domain name. Now, Whois is a standard, has been around forever, many years, and in the old days you used to be able to type in Whois and then the domain name, and you could get all kinds of information back about the who owns that domain and everything like that. Now it's cut down a little bit, but we're going to dive in here and have a look at this particular domain, so you can kind of see exactly what led us to understanding that this website is a bogus website and we shouldn't trust it. So checkfinancecar.com. We're going to go ahead and grab the domain name. We're going to go ahead and use this website, Whois. Which actually they've kind of squatted on this. It's not a free system. They're selling obviously hosting services and stuff, but they do have a direct link to the Whois domain lookup. So I'm going to go ahead and put in checkfinancecar.com and hit search, and we can see here's the domain name. Here's the registrar name cheap. So this will be something like Namecheap or GoDaddy or register.com or Network Solutions, any of those. Those are the big ones. It'll be somebody like that most likely. So we also see that the domain was registered not so long ago. We did the video a couple of weeks ago and we showed how this one in particular is bogus, and one of the clues was the actual time that it was registered, and we'll get to that in a second because I'm going to show you a good one to show what it looks like. And also this registrant contact, name withheld for privacy purposes. Now these days almost everything is in this privacy mode, so you're not going to disclose your company name, or you can disclose your company name to build a little bit of trust and help guys like us understand that what you're doing is actually a valid site. So this is a good thing. And notice the street and the registration here. In this case, it's Reykjavik. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this street name. And number 2, and the phone number is 354, but it doesn't kind of have the full administrative information. And there's administrative contacts and technical contacts. And here is the raw registry data. And this is good because this kind of shows us the only thing they're withholding here is the name, but we do get a lot of information about the domain registry itself. And we can also see down at the bottom here the DNS information. And all of this is good because it builds the credibility or lack thereof of the site. And remember, anybody can do this. So what I'm doing is going up to the whois.com. If we actually look at this, I probably need to change my settings here, but it's Whois for this particular website. And there's a lot of interesting things that bring a question mark here for this website. Autocheck.com. Here we go. So this is Experian's website, autocheck.com. And this one, if you want to look again up in that video up above, or the previously linked, you will see exactly what the information is and how it works. But we're going to go ahead and check this domain. I'm just going to grab the domain name here. I'm going to, let me grab a Whois. Yeah, I got to do that. Whois/Whois. And we're going to put auto check in here. All right. So notice this. We've got some big things to take a look at here. We see it's registered by Network Solutions. We notice it expires in 2026. They've paid for 5 years, and that's good because it means they're committed to this domain. And also, if we look at the registrant contact down below, we can see that we have Experian Information Solutions out there for everybody to see that it's part of Experian that's actually got this registered. And if you notice, it's out at Costa Mesa, 475 Anton Boulevard, and that's the same address it was registered for the Experian domain that we checked a little bit earlier. And if we scroll down, we can see we have all of the raw data and all the contact information here jives with an American company. It's located in the US. It has everything we need here, and it's very easy to verify. We could go pull up Google Maps, for example, put in that address, and we would likely see a big office building. So recapping, if we look at an organization like this, checkfinancecar.com, you'll notice some of the gotchas was registered very recently. If you go back and look at the Experian domain, was registered in 1999, so many, many years ago. That shows that this domain has been there for a while, and there's some pretty heavy longevity. If we go down and look at the registrant contact, this is the primary contact. And we look down here, we see Experian Information Solutions versus the bogus one that's showing it's private, it's withheld, and it's withheld. Now the address, I don't know that it can be withheld anymore, but as we can see here, we've got a valid US address versus one that's in Reykjavik overseas. So I don't know that I would be real quick trusting this. That's how we told the difference between these two different websites and which one was valid and which one was not. And when we dove in, it became pretty obvious which one was valid. All right, so guys, the next topic I wanted to dive into is beginning to protect yourselves on the internet. And one of the first things that we need to do is to determine whether or not our information is at risk. And one of the great tools available to everybody, whether you're an IT executive in a company, a small business owner, or a consultant like myself, I use these tools to support our clients, is this website called Have I Been Pwned? And the URL is here. I'll put the URL in the description down below, or the text feed, text chat. I'll just paste it in there. In fact, you know what? Here, let me do that right now. So we can post that in there. All right. So it's in the text chat. Here it is. Oops. Did something. There we go. Here it is, right here in the text chat. I'll go over here so you can see it. So this is good. Here's the website. It's called haveibeenpwned.com, and it's a funny story. Rumor has it that this was a typo. It was supposed to be an O in there, but it didn't make it, and the guy who set up this website decided to keep it, and I actually think it works pretty well. So basically, it's really, really simple on how you use this website. So you go in here, and you just simply type in your email address. So I'm going to use mine. You know what, let's do, before we do that, I'm going to do, here's our spam email address. So if anybody has any spam messages, feel free to send it to us, and we will take a look at it and analyze it in our Is This Legit playlist, which I'll link to right up here. So as you can see, it came back, it says good news, no pwnage found. So this email address has never been compromised. And I kind of expect that, because honestly, this email address is local to just us. We haven't used it anywhere. We don't use it on the internet. It's literally just an inbound email for you guys to send us stuff. So it's good that it came back clean. Now, I'm going to use my email address, and I've had this one for years. And this one is used to register accounts all over the place. And you can see right here, it's been pwned. It occurred in 2 data breaches, but found no pastes, so that's not bad. But one of the cool things is I can scroll down here, and it will show me the breaches in which that email was compromised. So with looking at it from this perspective, I can get a handle on how big my exposure is or how small my exposure is. And this is really good. Again, anybody can do this. You saw all I had to do was go in and type an email address, and it came back with the information. Really, really solid. So thankful to the developer for this site for doing this and allowing us to protect our clients a little bit more. Just good stuff. But that's really cool for the individual. But he's also done what we call a domain search. Now, what this is going to give me the ability to do is type in the domain name, and I can see every email that's compromised in that domain. And this is super powerful for consultants. If you're a small business owner, you'll want to be checking this on a regular basis. And stay tuned. We are working on a newsletter that will go out that will tell you when a new breach has occurred, and then you can come to a website like this and double check it. Where is the website? Website's over here, so now I have to point over here. So come to this website and double check your domain to see if you've been compromised. So we're going to go ahead and check our domain right now. So I type in the domain name, and I don't want to subscribe because I'm already subscribed. I prove I'm not a robot. And now we're going to begin the verification. And notice this is super powerful. So over here you can see that there are 4 email addresses listed: security, hostmaster, postmaster, and webmaster. And I can't just type something in. This way, these email addresses are usually set to go to the key administrative contacts on the website. So if I am a hacker and I compromise, Joe Schmo's at domain name, or in this case Joe Schmo at delmarvagroup.com, I can't go in here and still check. But so I have security. This one routes to me. So it sent an email, and I'm going to go over to my other screen here and just hop into webmail, and I should have the query. Yep, here it is. Have I been pwned? And you know what? Here, I'll bring it over real quick so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so here's the email. What am I looking at? Where are we? So the email arrived over on my other side here, and I'm going to bring it in so you can see what it looks like. So it comes from have I been pwned, see no reply at have I been pwned, to security at delmarvagroup.com. So I can't set that, so that actually increases the security. And here is the key. I've copied that to the clipboard, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in. Now, so there are 30 emails found associated with our account. And let's take a little bit of a closer look. So this is actually really important. So I can see all of these email addresses have been compromised. Every single one. See, here's Canva. We have a Canva account. And in the Canva, if you remember, Canva was actually breached at one point. I don't remember how long ago the Canva breach occurred, but it did. And this is giving us the ability to look and see what all the breaches are for all of the different email addresses on my account. Now this is key because it allows us as again a consultant or a business owner to figure out all of the emails that are at risk and get a good handle on what our exposure is. And then we could go about changing all of those. If you notice, one of the things that we do, see, we've got this Canva one. When I set up passwords, on accounts, I usually do a dedicated password and email address for each major account that we have set up. So we have a different one for Canva. We have a different one for any of the other number of things. I think I've got 1,000 username and password combinations out there. We'll get into that a little bit later in the video. But for now, did I point the right way? Later in the video would technically be that way. So for now, we're going to just move on and take a further look. So if I was the CIO for this company, I'd want to take a good look at these and see some of the interesting things. Some of these had nothing ever to do with us. We never created some of these, like this one, sbaldwinz@delmarvergroup.com. This was never an email address that we set up, and Fred and D. Lewis never set any of these up. So we actually found some bogus email addresses out there, which I find interesting because usually signups require confirmation, and in this case there was no confirmation. So Have I Been Pwned? Awesome site. Again, I will put the link down below in the description for all of you looking at this later. And we have zero affiliation with that website whatsoever. So that's all, well and good, but just a good website to keep in your back pocket if you're, again, a small business owner, administrator, or IT professional. So lastly, we wanted to dig into password managers a little bit. So a little bit about password managers. So password managers, we just talked about the Have I Been Pwned website. And if you didn't see that video, I'll put a link to it over there in that corner, way over there. And if you've discovered that your email address and password combination have been stolen or compromised, as the case may be, and generally what that means is that your credentials for your username and password, generally if you logged into a website somewhere, that's how we would find out if it's been compromised. And by compromised, it means that your credentials have been stolen, published out on the internet somewhere, possibly the dark web. For those of you who don't know what the dark web is, it's a fancy term for a bunch of websites that are, that are relatively hidden from general public consumption. So they're not indexed by Google, but there are a number of sources out there that hackers go to and obtain this type of information. And obviously your credentials could be very valuable because people could log in and if they get lucky, they could end up with your bank credentials. So two-factor authentication is a big key in helping them stop that. We'll cover two-factor authentication in another video a little bit later. We have some tricks on how to really help you manage that environment. Because two-factor authentication can be a little bit risky, but we'll get to that in another video. Here we're talking specifically about password managers. So one of the best ways that you can mitigate your risk is, you see on the screen, we're talking, it's not on the screen yet, there it is. We use them for 4 key reasons. They provide better security, they mitigate attacks, they drive efficiency, and they improve processes. At our company, we happen to use LastPass, and that's one of the better ones over time. But one of the ways that it can be better security or provides better security is the passwords generated by these utilities are often I didn't want to go there. Can I go back? I want to go back. I want to go back. There we go. Are often very difficult to hack. So here's, all right, maybe I'll just do it from the, you don't want to do the vault. So here, I just clicked on generating a password here. You know what, let me just make this a little smaller. There we go. So they're not fighting for control of my screen. Let me get rid of this because we're done with that. There we go. All right, so here you can see we've got some simple simple settings, and one of the things that we want to be able to do here is the longer the password is, and this kind of goes, there's mathematics behind all of this, but the longer the password is, the harder it is to hack. So even if you're running supercomputers at it, on it, the longer you make it, I believe it gets geometrically. Am I on the right side? No, geometrically harder to hack, and even crack with what they call a brute force attack, where they just try random attacks, or a systematic one where they just go through however long it is and just keep trying it until the hash matches. We're not going to get into password cracking in this video, don't worry. So one of the things that you can do to help protect yourself is just go ahead and make it longer. So this one currently is set to 12. Oops, sorry, wrong screen. There we go. If this one currently is set to 12, we can make it longer, 63 or even 99 characters long. There's some nice things we can do. We can try to make it easy to say or easier to read. But we have some little tweaks, and I generally do something around 30 characters with everything included. And you can copy this, you can regenerate them so you can see what they look like. And basically all of the password generators will give you this ability. In fact, there's another website I'll bring in real quick. So here's another look, a tool that we often use as well, particularly when we're gonna share this credential with a client. It's called passwordgenerator.net, and you see we have a lot of the same. Go away, ad. You see we have a lot of the same information and the ability to generate a password. So we can go here, we can keep generating them. Here it kind of gives you this little thing saying here's how you can remember it. Kind of interesting, but hey, for whatever it's worth. And you can obviously adjust the length. And we do this because obviously for our clients we want to be as secure as possible. So if we're setting up an admin credential and we're going to share it with them, we set these up and instruct them that the best way to enter this password obviously is to copy and paste it so that you don't have to remember it. So, but the longer these are, the more secure they are. And they also, we get into this ability of trying to mitigate the attacks and limiting the risk. And limiting the risk is key. And the way you do this is, the rule of thumb is no username and password combination should be used for more than one internet account. So in that Canva model, when I showed you before, when the Delmarva Group, Canva at delmarvagroup.com was exposed, that email address is not used in any other website. So the only exposure is, could they log into Canva and see our graphics work, some of our graphics work, or use our account to do graphics work? Yes, that's it. But if they use that to try to get into bank accounts, if they use that to try to get into VPN information or any of that, none of it's going to work because we only use that on Canva. So a password manager, by creating a database of your passwords, gives you the ability to have very easily a username and password for every single website that you use, a different combination. And that's key because that minimizes your risk. And the other great thing is, I don't have to remember my passwords anymore. I only have to remember one password. And yes, it's a hunkin' long one. And that's my primary password for either my Mac computer, which has its own password manager built in, and I'll touch on that in a minute. or LastPass, and it's a long one. It's I think almost 30 characters long by the time I type it all the way in. But it's the only one that I have to remember. And I change that one periodically, but LastPass takes care of managing all of the rest of those username, passwords, and combinations. And improving the process. So a lot of these password managers, and most of them have this ability. They give you the ability to share the password through their mechanism. So, for example, I've got an engineer that works with me that I may want to give administrative credentials to one of our client websites. And I can share that password with him without even giving him the password, so that he can't see what the password is. So should we have a falling out and he's no longer working with the company, my risk is very, very small. Obviously, if I was sending username and password credentials out, I would have to go through, and every website that I was concerned that may get broken into or whatever, I'd have to be very careful about that. So I don't want to do that. LastPass, and I'm speaking again at LastPass because that's the one that we use. There are several others. So here are some of the passwords, password managers. First, 1Password, Dashlane, Keeper, Bitwarden, and LastPass. So these are all pretty powerful tools. They all have this ability, but we're talking about the sharing capability. And this gives us the ability to share the password among ourselves with engineers or whatever. So the short story is I can share it with them. They can paste it in, but the nature of how it works, they can't actually see the password. So should we have a falling out with an engineer, we can terminate their access to all of the passwords we'd shared with them just by terminating their account, and they would lose access immediately to all of the systems that we've shared those passwords to. Now, in the old days when we didn't have password managers, we would have to log into every single website that they were provided, and that would create a difficult situation to go in and manage it. So tough stuff in the old days. Now with a password manager, I can just turn off their access and off we go. So to give you a bit of an idea, I'm going to pull in my particular LastPass system here. Get rid of some of these windows. And here you can see how this works, right? So we've got all these different passwords. I can go into one, I can edit it, click on this little thing, and it shows me what it's for. So in this case, it's a server on my local network, and here's the password. So if I ever get it, I can always go in and see what the password is, and share it or store it or whatever. So it just becomes a good way to keep everything safe. It's certainly safer than a single file with a whole bunch of password credentials in it. If anybody hacks your computer, you're toast, and they get a hold of that file, you've got to go manually change every single password that's out there. Just a bad thing. If I were to lose my computer, because LastPass is a cloud service, all of my username and passwords are stored up in the cloud. So I don't have to recreate any passwords. Everything would be stored up there. As long as I remember that big master password for LastPass, I'm good to go. And also, as long as I have the authenticator, the two-factor authentication working. But again, we'll get to that later. We'll do probably a video about just two-factor authentication and how you can manage it and make sure that you don't lose your second-factor credential, because that can be a big problem if you lose your second-factor credential. So again, links down below. We'll put links in to reference videos and everything that we talked about on this live stream. I don't see any questions out here, so thanks for watching, everybody. Sorry about the technical glitches, and we will post a recast of this and several other things later. So take care, and we'll see you next week on CIO Podcast Live Weekly Edition. Thanks, everybody.